Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Been a while, again. Sorry I've taken yet another hiatus off of YouTube. It's been honestly quite the flop for me, investing in these two massive title disappointments, namely Cyberpunk 2077 and Battlefield 2042. Man, what a scam these two video games were, especially right after their release. It's been really hard finding motivation to continue making content for this channel, especially after what happened. So I've kind of like decided to not restrict myself to only performance reviews. I felt like I really need to diversify and expand my type of content, like including some gameplay, some game news, maybe even like game reviews like the one I'm doing right now, instead of just sticking to one thing. And I think that would be more sustainable for this channel in the long run, so expect these changes in the future from here onwards. One last thing before we move on, if you find this video helpful or like useful to you in any way, just don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and let me know what topics you want me to talk about in the next video or something like that in the comment section down below. Anyways, enough about this channel and my issues, and let's really talk about what's been happening with Battlefield and this entire franchise in general. And from what's been happening lately, I think it's safe to say that the future does not look bright for this entire franchise. So yeah, enough with this intro, and let's just jump straight into it. Alright, so it's no secret that the game has been a massive failure since its release, and that massive loss in player count is a testament to that. You don't need to dig for it to find that out. Just look at the player count on Steam or other places and it will show you evidence of that. And if that wasn't enough for you, take a look at the amount of AI players that join you per match. It's kind of like ridiculous at this rate. And if even that wasn't enough for you, take a look at how long it used to take to enter a single match before the patch was released. The question here is, will this situation continue even after the new patches start to drop? In my honest and humble opinion, it's a definite yes, because the problem isn't about the patches or isn't about how smooth the experience is, it's about the core features of the game being screwed. Now, what the hell exactly am I talking about over here? Simply put, there's a list of like core features of the game that I'd like to discuss and share my thoughts about them over here with you. But for the sake of time and for the sake of not dragging out this video for too long, I'll only share 3 of the core features here with you. So let's start with number 1, the specialist system. So how many videos have you seen on YouTube of people complaining about the specialist system and that they would rather have the old class system, the traditional class system instead? Like, why did anyone think in the development team that it's a good idea just to abandon a core feature of Battlefield? Something that dates back to the first Battlefield, like Battlefield, I think it was 1942, and just change all of, change it all of a sudden. I don't get it. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not that there is something that makes it unplayable, this like specialist system or whatever, but losing the class system that has been there from the start of this franchise just like gets rid of a sense of familiarity with the style of Battlefield. I mean, if you were to ask me, I wouldn't want to be taken from an environment where I had players advancing normally or like maybe flanking me from side to side to all of a sudden Sundance dropping in from out of nowhere shooting me in the face, and like, where did that come from? And yeah, I get that they don't want to make too many things similar to their previous titles and have like some kind of remastered Battlefield 3 or 4 or whatever, but it's just too different. Getting rid of the class system it kind of breaks off from the theme of Battlefield, just like what happened with Battlefield Hardlines. So yeah, it's just like, it can work in other titles, but not the Battlefield franchise. Anyways, I've talked about that long enough. Now moving on to the next point, map design. And holy crap, what a mess that is. Oh, and just as a disclaimer before I go deep into that point, I'll say this right now, I haven't played any of the default maps after the update has been released, just because the waiting time was too goddamn long. I couldn't bear it, man. Anyways, I've got 2 words for the devs. 2 words. Player density. Or if you want to put it in other words, player distribution. Like, come on, devs. How hard of a concept is it to grasp? Or was it something that eluded you while designing the map? I only ask because it's a crucial thing to consider while designing a map for a fast-paced multiplayer action game like Battlefield. And honestly, Hourglass was the furthest thing from being suitable to a game of that nature. If they were to run like proper simulations on each map, they would definitely have realized that at least 80% of the map wasn't used by or occupied by players. Like, how could you come up with such a map? It's just so strange to me. It's almost as if they neglected to consider the player experience when designing the map. I mean, sure, it looks ultra realistic and like a typical city of what you would find in real life, especially if you are in the future, and especially if you're going to war. You would find yourself in situations or areas less than ideal for battle or combat. But this isn't real life or real wars. This is just a game designed to be entertaining and fast-paced. These maps should be designed not only to look realistic, but also like enjoyable and tactically stimulating for us, for the players. So consider this, for example, what makes for a good map, especially a conquest map. I'd say the ability to quickly and easily reach like key destinations on the map, or maybe have alternate routes to flank your enemy forces in key positions, or maybe even like have plenty of cover to just enjoy playing as infantry. And land vehicles as well, you know, these things do need cover as well. So take a guess, out of the 7 maps, how many actually do feature all of the things that I previously mentioned? 1. And 2 if you're being like extremely generous. Namely Orbital and Kaleidoscope. So yeah. Now, on to the next point. Couple that with the lack of diverse modes, you get a game that is super easy to get bored of and forget about within weeks. Now again, that's why almost all the players have abandoned this game, and you're left with nothing but a stale and hollow one. There isn't even a team deathmatch in the default part of the game. You'd have to go to the portal section to get like a server hosting a TDM match. You know, on top of that, having that mode alone would get rid of the problems plaguing wide open maps like the one we see in Conquest. Low player density and taking long to get into the fight, and when you reach the fight you get instantly killed by a vehicle or something like that. It's just bizarre how this kind of conquest structure really is. The conquest matches in the new Battlefield are just terrible, man. And don't forget about the other like modes as well, like air superiority, capturing the flag, rush, gunmaster. Honestly, it's a shame that Battlefield 2042 missed out on all of these things in its launch. So much potential, so many chances, but yet a massive disappointment and failure. Thing is, it just doesn't end there. These were just some of the core problems that, Battlefield had to launch with. When you take into account the other non-core issues, like for example weapon diversity, no voice chat, I know that they fixed it in their most recent patch, but it's still like, it should have been launched with the game. Like, I don't know why Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3 had similar things, but the voice chat, the voice party thing, the VoIP as they call it, it was there, a technology that was there in the previous games. Why not include it in the new one when it was launched? So it's just kind of disappointing and strange to me to have a game that futuristic and just flop like that, have missing, like core missing features in it. Why did that happen? On top of that, they had this crappy user interface when navigating the game, and the option menus and whatnot. Hovercrafts rolling on the side of the buildings. Like, who approved of this? Who decided it was a good idea to launch a game in that state? And yes, I know that some of you are probably saying, but dude, the devs have also been working on the weapons that are in portal mode. Isn't that enough work for them? And yes, you would be right, except for the fact that portal mode was never a core part of the game. Why focus on that and leave the core part? Especially when the people over at DICE are considering making the portal mode actually free to play for all. Like, come on, man. Giving the most valuable and successful part of the game away for free? It's almost as if they're trying to spit it in our faces, the people who actually purchased the game and supported them. And to make matters worse, hearing the rumors that suggest the core development team over at DICE has started to work on the new Battlefield game just adds fuel to the fire. Like, isn't it enough that the game was terrible at launch and during the beta? They won't even stay to rectify the problems surrounding the state of the current game? This is just terrible, man. And yes, I know that some devs are actually staying behind to refine and polish the game further and further, but come on, trying to fix stuff like core issues of the game, core design features? And why weren't these issues addressed in the beta stage, or maybe even like 1 or 2 months after launch? Why did it have to be 6 months? It's such a long time, and to be completely honest with you, I think I speak for everybody when I say that we were expecting like new content to be released by now. In fact, that's what I think should happen right now. Devs should definitely stop focusing on trying to refine the game further and further and focus about releasing new content. That's the only thing that will save the game right now. If that doesn't happen in the near future, I feel like the people will permanently abandon the game and never come back. That's something I would hate to see happen to this Battlefield and the Battlefield franchise in general. Anyways though, bottom line is Battlefield 2042 is broken at the core level. Its design was not well thought out at all. The product as it stands right now is a complete disaster. And just to reiterate, it's not a problem about how well refined the game is. No amount of patches will fix the heap of mess that is Battlefield. The only way to fix this game is to change the core things that I've previously mentioned, or to add new content to it. And until and unless these things happen, the game won't improve not a single bit, even if you refined the hell out of it. And not to be overtly like negative towards EA or anything, but this feels like just
another Anthem.
Nah man, but seriously, just to end on a more lighter note and not to be a cynic or anything, I will say this. Battlefield 2042, as a standalone game and not part of any franchise, would make for actually a pretty decent game. The cool graphics, the huge maps, the bots filling the servers and not feeling like completely empty while you're playing, a few cool vehicles and whatnot, makes for a decent game. But again, to return to reality, I don't think it would ever be worth $60 that people would pay for. But anyways, that's just my opinion about this whole issue. If you got another opinion and would like to share, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Thumbs up the video if you liked it, and hit subscribe for more content like this, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Peace.